Welcome, adventurers. Here's what happened last time on the Incorrigible party.
Concerned about what they discovered in Samuel's most recent journal, Mia and Falzaren seek the advice of Generals Wilsha Ventrier and Larac Calloway, both of them offering their help in figuring out what may be wrong with the armor of Kalar, and finding its power waning. Wasting no time, Samuel presses the attack on the Neogi, ordering troops into position for an all-out assault.
And now, on with the show.
After assessing the armor and speaking with Samuel and kind of getting into the general plan, the troop movements happen immediately as the new front line is just kind of set abuzz. And as Samuel has mentioned, General Stellus, having already been kind of briefed on the plan, he's been busy assembling and mobilizing the Paladins. And over the next couple hours or so, maybe 2 or 3, the camp's numbers just kind of start to dwindle pretty significantly as swaths of Paladins set out to the additional, the closest cave entrances to get into to assault from. And as the weather has finally cleared and from the height of where the front line is on the slope of this mountain, you can see these Paladin troops like kind of disappearing far into the distance, almost like trails of ants as they march to the west, which is towards Mount Gromad, but also northwards towards Mount Necrosis, which is also kind of the opposite way that you, as the party, had arrived to the front line. You know, when you had traversed the lake and up towards Thufty's cave, etc. So it's kind of 2 sets of mobilizations in these 2 directions. You can also see from your height advantage the 2 airships there at the base of the mountain that the camp is on. Kind of the only place that they can safely actually park due to their size and the slope of the mountainside itself. They both take off, though, as this camp is kind of being emptied out, right as this time is progressing. But you see that they actually head towards Drukal and not into the mountains.
Mia just looks up and feels really bad that Grimby's probably not captain anymore. Wah, wah. Because of her words. Falzaren, the airships, they're headed to Drukal. Maybe that's where Shikara was. Right? He's sending people looking for the eyes.
Right, yes, perhaps that's what's going on. That makes sense.
Why would they? Anyway, I have no idea why they would go back to Drukal. It's weird. Are you ready for tonight?
Oh, I guess as ready as I'll ever be. And you?
I think so. Yeah. What other choice do we have? This is what I'm here for.
Yes. If you've got a point.
The hours again continue to tick by as it's kind of almost, it's like you're just waiting, right? You're kind of waiting for the time of action, as Samuel had kind of described, right? You need time for these troops to get into placement is really what's holding the operation up. Again, as things are moving like really quickly now, that you need to seize on this kind of opportunity that has presented itself. But as the sun is beginning to set, you're approached by some familiar faces. Silas, he still has like the same kind of accompanying paladins that had taken your stuff and arrested you. They now have Grimby, Hulsa, Dreg, and Braun in tow. And Grimby, immediately upon seeing you, Grimby's like, Falzaren, what's this nonsense about Shikara?
Oh, Grimby.
Braun.
I'm not completely sure what's going on with Shikara and Shaft, but they're no longer here. They left in the night.
They take me captainship?
Grimby, I'm sorry. I think that it's just because of your association with Shikara, that's all. And you gotta trust Samuel. Are you coming into the caves with us? And I look over at Silas.
Silas is kind of shaking his head. We're escorting them out of the camp. We're letting them say their goodbyes. But Dreg, Hulsa, and Grimby, we've been ordered to escort them to the base of the mountain.
But Braun just met Shikara. He's not associated with Shikara, right? Tell him, Braun.
Braun is, according to Samuel, to accompany you and Falzaren.
Okay.
But the rest of them, I'm afraid, we'll be escorting out as soon as they say the goodbyes.
Dreg, Hulsa, Grimby, we believe Shakara and Shaft stole the other Eye of Dendar from the tower, exposing our front lines, leaving us weakened with no explanation.
And where be they now?
We have no idea. Do you know?
Yes, we haven't heard from them.
Haven't seen them since we took off from the old front line.
I'm sorry that you're to be cast out. I hope we can meet again someday. I look at each of them.
Grimby kind of sighs, and you see now Braun steps forward again. He's clearly happy to see you, of course, Mia. I know you have said before your family's not really huggers, so he's kind of...
No, we fist pound with the
hammer
right? Or something.
Yeah, that's right. But Braun begins to, kind of say his own goodbyes. He kind of gives Grimby, clasps forearms with Grimby. It's been a pleasure serving under you, Captain Chum. You be the best damn medic I've ever had the fortune to command there, Braun. And, they kind of nod to each other. Braun and Hulsa just share a polite nod, too. It's kind of very curt. There seems to be maybe a little animosity between the two of them. And finally, turning to Dreg, Braun kind of clasps Dreg's shoulder with one hand. He brings his forehead to Dreg's. They both kind of dip their heads towards each other. And he's kind of lowers, speaking softly to Dreg. You are more than your feelings of anger. They will not consume you. They will not twist you. Dreg rests, his hand on the side of Braun's, kind of taking his cheek in his hand. And then he kind of undoes the thin band of leather around his waist that is connected to the scabbard and the dagger that Shakara had given to Dreg. And Dreg will show it to Braun. I don't think I need this anymore. As he hands it to your brother, tears welling in his eyes. And Braun takes the weapon from Dreg with a warm smile.
Mia's gonna see this as he's handing it quite before they leave. Just, Silas, can you give us a minute? And I kind of wave Falzaren over and just sort of try to huddle with them a little bit, maybe so that Silas and crew can't hear. Guys, I'm really sorry about this, and if you're not sure where to go or what to do, the ships are flying to Drukal. You could go looking for Shakara and Shaft. You could try to figure out what's happening. You could get in touch with them and, there has to be some reason they left.
I think that's the plan there, Mia.
Falzaren and I, right, Falzaren, we're not totally convinced that they are against us or anything, and we're just confused. We have no idea why.
Yes, it doesn't seem like Shaft and Shakara to... there must be something else that we don't know about.
If you find them, send word to us.
I know Shakara she must have had her reasons.
They might be in danger. They might need help. I'd appreciate it if you go looking, at least.
Damn right I'll be looking. Hulsa's nodding, and Dreg, as he kind of wipes his cheek, is agreeing. Yeah.
Okay, good. Just checking. I didn't really want Silas and the boys to hear that. Kind of puff my chest a little bit. Take a deep breath. Okay, all right. And I'm trying not to cry a little bit. Okay.
Each of them, again, kind of wish you a farewell. They kind of give Thufty a bit of a look. Obviously, no one's really doing the introductions. Not that it matters, as Thufty seems to be back to being preoccupied with his stick.
The same stick, or?
Well, after all of your items were confiscated, he did have to find a new one. But Silas will escort the three of them, again with his kind of paladin entourage, as they depart finally, and back towards the edge of the camp, into the base of the mountains, as Silas had explained. It's good to see you, Mia. What's been going on? Life on the airship, it goes by pretty quick.
Well, there's a few things going on. we're preparing. We're gonna be going into the caves tonight. Have you heard?
Yeah, Silas kind of mentioned, briefed me a little bit.
Well, Braun, I'm glad you're able to join us. I was so worried about you. How was the ship? Was it fun?
It took me a little while to get my air legs, but I've grown very close and fond of Dreg, and Grimby, of course. Hulsa seems nice.
Yeah, I know what you mean about Hulsa. They'll be all right. Happy to have you come with us. We can use all the help we can get. There was some sort of like barrier, and Falzaren's able to sort of disable that. So finding that out, we're kind of mobilizing and just kind of waiting, and the army's doing their thing. I don't know. Samuel's the best with the logistics, but I guess the plan's to get inside the system here and kind of control their hub for travel, so we can travel faster. They can't, blocking those situations. And if you want to come with us, we're gonna go try to kill this Neogi god. Figure you might be interested.
A Neogi god? He kind of turns to Falzaren. A barrier? How is Samuel expecting to control anything that has to do with the Neogi?
I'm honestly not quite sure. I don't quite understand how the barrier was able to be opened, but it is.
It's a long story. I mean, we don't know everything, but is there anyone else around? Is it just Thufty and then Braun?
Yeah, it's kind of the four of you now.
We got in a fight, and we cried out for help, and Thuff the Younger here. By the way, this is Braun, my brother. Thuff the Younger, Braun, Thuff the Younger.
Oh, hi.
This is my brother.
Oh, you never mentioned before.
Just like you had a brother.
You never talk about him.
Oh wow. Okay, so he's my friend. He's got no filter, Braun. Just ignore. It's we get along because of this. It's fine. Falzaren died. So Falzaren was dead, and I was spent, and it's my fault. I should have known to save some energy in case something went wrong, but the Neogi god resurrected him. So
but in just because what?
How? Thufty cried out, and it happened. I didn't know it was the Neogi saving him.
It's apparently Thuft has a somewhat of a relationship with. He claims to be the emissary of this Neogi god.
I Sari very well. Yeah,
he's a good Sari.
It's Thufty, by the way, Falsey.
Right. Yes. Thufty Saries very well, being an emissary.
Yeah, we kind of guess that because he has a link to this god, he can do things we can't that are like Neogi specific. And you know what, Braun? Full disclosure, I owe a favor to this god, and yeah, it sucks.
You are in debt to...
Yeah, so before he can cash in on the debt, I want to kill this thing, right? Like,
I think that sounds like a very good idea.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. Falzaren's been such a good companion and a friend, and I just couldn't see him go, and I asked for help.
I really, you shouldn't feel guilty, Mia.
I could have saved you if I would have just saved some energy myself.
It was a very difficult situation for all of us, and I'm sure, we wish things could have went differently. But what happened.
But Braun, this is why I left home. This is it. This is the time. This is the battle. It's happening.
I understand. I fully understand why you wanted to leave in the first place. This is exciting. It's terrifying. It's everything.
It is everything. Aspara is toast if we can't do anything about the Neogi. Like, it's hopeless. They're so strong. So, anyway, there's Thufty has been very helpful. He's explained a little bit about his god to us. How do you say his name again, Thufty?
Kakalak.
Yeah, that one. And I don't try to say it because I can't say it. But
No. Don't say it wrong. Just
exactly.
You could say Your Majesty.
I'm alright. And then apparently this god lives in 2 different bodies. So Samuel and troops are going to go to one body, and then Falzaren and I and Thufty are going to go to another. You'll probably come with us, and then we're going to try to kill the bodies where this god lives in, and maybe that's what can turn the tide and change everything.
Yes, I think Samuel is, with this armor on, is a very, very powerful ally that I'm quite glad we have on our side.
But yeah, we have no idea what happened to Shakara, Shaft, and Horik is with them. Do you know Horik?
I don't know that I've met Horik.
Anyways, Shaft's old buddy, and I don't know what they're doing. We gave Shakara the eye that was promised for the pieces of the armor, and that just wasn't enough. We went to sleep. Next thing you know, the 3 of them are missing, and the tower's powered down, and the other eye's gone, and the front line's left open. It's not like them to leave us weak and just not tell us where they're going.
So since we parted, you are in debt to an evil god.
Yes.
The artifacts that are meant to bring back another evil entity are in the possession of someone that worships that entity. Now we're about to go into depths unknown, crawling with creatures that want to enslave all of our world. Is that about it?
Yep. Sounds about right.
The odds certainly don't sound that good when you put it that way, but...
Braun, like myself, we're, point blank. We're straight shooters,
yes.
right?
I think we've got a good chance.
Braun Thor's with us.
Yes. I'm looking forward to putting all of this behind us.
Ready yourself. Whatever you may need to do, Braun. It's not going to be long now. We're planning on tonight.
And he kind of has a grip on his own weapon. I'm ready. I'm ready if the 2 of you are.
Because in addition to the things you mentioned, we're on a little bit of a time crunch because Samuel feels like the armor is kind of losing power over time. So, yeah, there's that too.
Silas gave me the opportunity to remain aboard the Rising Four, even not under Grimby's captainship. You're making me regret the decision I made.
Brother, we need you. Don't be like that. Come on. Just kind of poke him with my hammer and give him a little shot.
And the camp kind of grows eerily quiet, right? As the sun sets and darkness kind of overtakes it. There's obviously far fewer paladins on site to maintain those fires that have been burning since you arrived. Essentially, kind of lets the cold seep in. You didn't quite realize even how sparsely distanced they were, the effect that they kind of had on the overall the atmosphere, but again just the temperature of the camp itself. And there's a nervousness in the air that just kind of builds and builds as the remaining paladins, this massive garrison of a few hundred paladins, they've assembled now outside of the Neogi cave, fully prepared, waiting for the signal to advance. Samuel stands at the mouth of the cave. He's just staring into the surrounding night, kind of very stoic, motionless. The armor of Kalar kind of glints, those gold and blue pieces glint in the torchlight that illuminates the cave's entrance. Silas is moving throughout the garrison, kind of patting paladins on the back, checking in on them, returning salutes to those that give him one. He's kind of got a bundle of items in his arms, and he's passing out equipment to the paladins as he moves through. Kind of gets now to the 4 of you, right? Yes, I keep losing track, but there's 4 of you, right? 2 of you, Braun and Thufty.
Different 4 than before.
Right, exactly. The number may stay constant, but the composition of that number definitely changes quite a bit.
Yes.
But he, gets to you, and have the 4 of you gotten any of the available provisions? We don't have much left to give out, but I'm trying to make sure everyone has gotten at least something.
Do you have another scroll ascending there, Silas?
Yeah, I think there may be a couple left. And in addition to that, he kind of shows you what he has, essentially, right? So he's got 10 potions of climbing, 5 potions of greater healing. Looks like there's 1 potion of gaseous form, 2 potions of maximum power, and 3 potions of advantage. That's kind of what's left in the reserves. And he offers, like, you can take what you want, but he makes it clear that he's trying to distribute, like, as far wide as he can. So it's going to be up to you what you insist that you might want to take from him. Okay, so obviously the greater healing, self-explanatory.
Ooh, I still have a potion of invulnerability.
What's that do?
For 1 minute, I have resistance to all damage.
Okay, so potions of climbing, as the name kind of implies, when you drink it, you gain a climbing speed equal to your walking speed for 1 hour. During this time, you have advantage on athletics checks to make to climb. The potion of greater healing, 44 plus 4 hit points when you drink it.
I have 2 potions of greater healing already. You can go to someone else.
Yeah, I think Falzaren would take one of each if he could.
Okay, so you want to... Okay, yeah, you can have a potion of climbing, greater healing. The single potion of gaseous form. When you drink this potion, you gain the effect of the gaseous form spell for 1 hour, no concentration, or until you end the effect as a bonus action. The gaseous form spell, while you're in this form, the target, which of course would be the drinker, your only method of movement is a flying speed of 10 feet, but it transforms you into, like, literally a misty cloud. You can enter and occupy the space of another creature. You have resistance to non-magical damage. You have advantage on strength, dexterity, and constitution saving throws. You can pass through small holes, narrow openings, even, like, tiny cracks. Can't miss through, like, liquids, which act as solid surfaces.
Can you phase in and out of that while this spell is in effect, or like you for an hour you're the gas?
That's correct. You're in this form until you dismiss it, right? So while you're in the form of the Misty Cloud, the target can't talk or manipulate objects, and any objects it was carrying or holding can't be dropped, used, or otherwise interacted with. The target can't attack or cast spells, so it's kind of more of a defensive, maybe more of a utility thing. But there's a single one of those.
Is it Potion of Power?
Potion of Maximum Power. The first time you cast a damage-dealing spell of 4th level or lower within 1 minute after drinking the potion, instead of rolling dice to determine the damage dealt, you instead use the highest number possible for each die.
Yes, please.
Okay, so there's 2 of those, so you could have one of each if you wanted.
Yeah, as much as I think the gaseous form is cool, I don't know that fits Mia's fighting style, so I'm interested so far on the Potion of Maximum Power.
Okay, and then the last potions. Potion of Advantage. When you drink this potion, you gain advantage on 1 ability check, attack roll, or saving throw of your choice that you make within the next hour.
How many of those were there?
There are 3 of those.
That's pretty powerful.
The potion lasts for an hour, but you only apply it to a single ability check, attack throw, or saving throw, and then that's it. You only get it once.
Oh, one time. It's not for an hour each time.
No. Within that hour, you'll get to choose
a death save. Is that on there?
That is a death save is considered a saving throw. Yeah. So if you potentially, I would let you do that, definitely. There's 3 of those.
I look over at Falzaren. I mean, I don't know if I need to be climbing around or turning into mist. Maximum damage and, like, having advantage sounds good to me.
All of these potions certainly I think will be very helpful. Any of them, I think.
So I think the gaseous form spell is more of a utility spell. It's not really meant to be a combat spell. It's like literally like you could turn into a mist, get through a keyhole or underneath a locked door,
Gotcha.
And then revert back. Like I think that's what it's meant to be. So it is more utility.
Wouldn't be super helpful for, like, if you were about to die in combat to turn into a gas, because then people could still attack you technically.
That is true. Though if you did that, you could fly. Like you can fly above. Like you could try to get high up out of range of things potentially. So there is a bit of usage maybe in combat. And resistance to non-magical stuff is still good.
And it's not concentration, so you could take damage and it's not going to knock you out of it.
That's right. All right. So what are each of you going to take then?
I'm going to take a potion of maximum power and a potion of advantage.
Oh, this is hard.
Now, can I cast a 4th level spell that, because of my item, gets upcast to 5th level with maximum damage?
I would rule yes. You can.
Because it's casting at 4th level.
Right. It doesn't exactly. You're still expending only a 4th level slot, so I would. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
doubt
like
I
those
can
two
call
stats.
a storm in a cave, but that would be dope if I could. 5d10. It's like a channel right there, basically a channel.
Falzaren?
Falzaren's going to take the potion of greater healing, and how many people are left that are leaving?
Oh, there's like a few hundred paladins here waiting to get into the caves. Like there's after the original like stockpile got raided by the Neogi, like clearly there's not enough really to go around. But Silas is just trying to spread what was able to be produced with what was left as far as in as many hands as possible.
So I think if Silas will let Falzaren, he will take potion of climbing, potion of greater healing, and potion of advantage.
You're taking 3, Falsey? Wow.
All right, so Silas will hand each of you what you requested. Braun will take.
Oh, and ascending scroll.
Yep, he has this scroll for you. Absolutely. Braun is also going to take a greater healing. He agrees with you, Mia, as far as like climbing in the heavy armor that you have. Maybe it won't come up, but he'll also take max power and an advantage.
If there are any spells of disintegrate or power word kill, Falsey would take those as well.
Oh yeah, Silas has been able to outfit every single paladin with a couple of those.
Just a couple scrolls of banishment that I can cast on this god. Yeah.
But again, Silas kind of hands everybody what they've requested, and then he again continues into this kind of assembly, and you see very quickly he's given out the rest of what he had.
Well, I've been thinking that now or never, I might as well try to get in touch with Shikara again and see if there's any response or answer to what's going on and what they're doing, especially if we think this armor problem is related to the Eyes of Dendar. So I'm gonna send her a message. Where are you? We're heading into battle, breaching the caves. The armor is weak. We need the eyes. Please come help us. XO.
And this few seconds go by, and long enough where you almost think again she won't respond to you, but you do get a response.
Are you trying to lure us to our deaths? Many paladins have already tried and failed. My priorities lie differently now. I must stop Isabella.
So Falzaren, you see Mia's demeanor stiffen, and her eyes are wide, and she looks a little pale. Falzaren.
What's wrong, Mia?
She answered.
And where is she? What is she doing?
I doubt they'll come to our aid.
Does she have the eyes?
She didn't say. She said they've killed paladins, and her priorities are different now.
What?
They're trying to stop Isabella? Isabella must be stopped, which, I know that. Oh, these sending spells don't give me enough information. I don't think the eyes are an option. I just have more questions. She sounded calm and weird about killing the paladins, tracking them.
Did she mention anything about Shaft? Does it sound like they're together?
She said, "Are you trying to lure us to our deaths?" So, they must be together. She used the plural.
Well, I suppose this is a problem for another day. We have the road in front of us that we need to walk today.
I just can't believe it.
I know it's I didn't expect this either, but like I said, I think we've got a good chance at us together, and I'm feeling Samuel's very powerful in this armor. I think it's very good. I'm glad that he's on my side.
Did we just send Grimby and Hulsa and Dreg to kill more paladins? Like, that is against our purpose. This is all spiraling out of control.
I think, like I said, we can't, there's nothing we can do about it today.
No, there's not, but I almost wish I hadn't asked. Now I feel uneasy about this whole situation. I thought maybe they were leaving for our good and for the good of Aspara, but it sounds like it's a selfish Isabella-focused mission. What could they possibly be doing?
Perhaps Isabella is a bigger threat than we were aware of, and you know, we can't worry about we can't control what other people do, and we're not responsible for that either at the end of the day.
I just fall silent.
Let's try to focus, Mia.
Okay.
This is going to be a very long night. Who knows what to expect lies in front of us. I suspect it's going to be unpredictable for everyone.
I mean, maybe this will make you feel better. And Thufty holds out his stick to you, Mia.
I kind of grin a little bit. That's all he's gonna get.
He kind of shrugs when he's, you don't, I assume you don't take it from him. And he goes back to kind of playing with it.
Falzaren, I just can't get it out of my head. I must stop Isabella. It's just repeating.
Well, Shakara and Shaft are going to do what they're going to do, and we can't do anything about it at this point.
By the sounds of it, sister, maybe their goal is to stop whatever the plans were for Dendar, and Isabella's role in that.
Okay, true. Okay, alright, okay. If we save Aspara just for Dendar to be resurrected, or were they dead? I don't even know. But anyway, yeah, okay.
Mia, I'm feeling more and more confident that Aspara
Okay, I'm feeling more and more anxious, but okay.
Going to be in good hands very soon.
She just starts deep breathing.
I know it's felt like the past few weeks have been years, but it's all going to be over soon.
She starts mumbling something, and you hear the power of Thor. The power of Thor. Just meditating, deep breathing.
And the cold night air, your wafts of your deep breath, right? The vapor in the cold night, and that kind of nervousness starts to turn into anticipation, and the troops themselves are waiting in the night. A few of them have begun sparring to keep warm, and it's very clear everybody is growing restless, right? As now we've been assembled for hours, and it's been waiting for the other teams to get in place as we approach midnight now. The day has been quite long, full of activity. Samuel this whole time has just remained in that position, just eyes out into the darkness, and his vigilance finally pays off as flares, streaks of flame kind of lance into the air again from far off to the west and further north. Samuel kind of turns to the paladin next to him and gives him the signal, and a return flare is sent off from your position. Advance team, forward! Half of the garrison surges towards the cave entrance as they begin to filter in. Samuel, and he still only has 6 of his bodyguards kind of encircled around him. They lead the charge of the rest of the forces, which of course includes the 4 of you. And again, now there's a frenetic energy as adrenaline starts to surge in these paladins, and they're cramming and shoving their way. Hundreds of paladins are trying to get into the funnel through this relatively small cave entry. That kind of web-like portal, right? As you're in the mass of bodies, it seems to stretch further and further and further into this tunnel right behind whatever is behind it, as this mass of bodies push through it. into the round chamber, right, with the egg sacs, up those 10 flights of stone stairs to the top where the second portal is. And masses push through this one again. Still fully functioning by all accounts. And you finally, with these paladins, you emerge into this massive open chamber. It's nearly like 500 feet in diameter, in a very, very rough circular shape. Immediately you hear the clanging and yelling and snarling of battle that reverberates through this massive opening, near deafening intensity. Hundreds of combatants have already flooded the space, both sides eager to spill blood. 7 of those web portals, which does include the one you entered by, they're spaced out along the walls of this chamber, set into the base of huge rock pillars, for lack of a better term. They just stretch up to the 100-foot ceiling, preventing it from collapsing inwards. Spider webs large enough to catch a huge creature cling and stretch between them. And the stone has been carved out further around these supports, creating this second floor 40 feet above you, and it runs the circumference of the chamber, kind of like a balcony. 10 more of these portals are set into the back wall, encircling that space like on the first floor. Each one of these portals has a 3-foot thick length of fibrous cordage running from it to the center of the chamber. Again, much like the cave you had just exited, with the egg sacs all connected and funneled through the entry portal. Here, however, these fibers, they run directly to what has to be their source. Squeezed and stuffed on a raised section of rock about 20 feet up, between 4 more of the stone supports that reach up to the ceiling, is an enormous, bloated creature. It is barely recognizable as having once been a Neogi, now blown up to nearly 60 feet wide. Its spider's thorax bulges out between these support pillars, between the gaps in the 4 of them. The hairs that cover a normal Neogi's body, they've all fallen out now, revealing this pale, sickly yellow skin beneath, with long stretch marks that run the length of its abdomen. The spindly legs and eel neck look like they've shortened, completely dwarfed by the sheer mass of the swollen thorax. It does not seem as if they too have been expanded. It's literally like the ass end of a spider just ballooned up. Each of those 17 kind of web fibers connect to the base of its body, extending from enlarged spinnerets. A ring of orcs formed around this central platform. And you're taking in all of this, like, just in seconds, right? Like a second or two, in addition to the fighting around you. Hordes of orcs trading blows with paladins. Neogi crawling on the walls and over fallen figures, sending out their own eldritch blast. There's their Umberhulk thralls always close by, slamming into their enemies. Above you, a piercing shriek kind of cuts through the cacophony of battle as a dozen harpies come streaming out of a portal on the floor above you.
That is a lot of enemies. Holy.
You see like more paladins still emerging through these portals. So for ease of reference, I have numbered them on the map, but obviously they're not, they don't each sport a number above them or anything like that. But for your frame of reference on the map, you see more paladins emerging from entrance numbers 2, 7, 13, 17, 4, and 14. So it does seem like there's a pretty good number of entrances that the paladin forces were able to reach and get into and take over and get through into this chamber.
It's not blatantly stated, but they each have this cord. You basically called it a thick cord, and it's going to the thorax of this Neogi in the middle. If we're to kill this Neogi in the middle, like, could we assume that it, like, the portal no longer functions then? Or hypothesize? They're, like, attached, though. So it's like, okay. And we know going into our portal, we felt like it was like a web pulling feeling situation.
Yeah, there's like that stickiness, right? That once you're through kind of just evaporates, the residue evaporates off you. Also, keep in mind, everything in the chamber behind you, that too was connected into the portals.
I just wonder if Mia or like Samuel would know where numbers were coming from and if they're done coming before we like, you know what I mean, potentially close any of these portals. But
if you take another brief second to survey, there are creatures coming in from every single entrance, including paladins.
Paladins and bad guys.
Correct.
All right.
The impression I get is if we were to attack this thing in the center, we might all be trapped in here.
Well, let's roll initiative and find out.
Exactly.
Oh, Falsey, what a good start to the night. Nat 20. I think that may be the first time I've ever rolled a nat 20 for initiative.
Do you have any decks?
No, I do not.
Mia got a 15. This map is nuts.
Yeah, this is enormous. We're a little bit outnumbered.
It's hard to say. They have like some big creatures, but there's a lot of paladin numbers around, it looks like. It's hard to say.
Right, so again, also keep in mind this is kind of more of a static picture.
We want to know about like the actual sort of leaning of the, yeah.
Exactly. Still in flux. So first up, Falzaren.
I should have hit my circle before going through the portal, dang it.
In the immediate vicinity, it doesn't look like there are too many Neogi. It's mostly orcs, kind of, but you're still in. Remember, you're in a cluster of paladins, right? These massive bodies that have pushed through. Probably more at like the tail end of what has been going in, but you're there. And Falzaren, what are you gonna do?
I think Falzaren's going to let loose his war cry and cast Blink.
All right. It's been so long.
It has. I guess that's the beauty of being first in initiative, is that I feel like casting Blink, isn't a bad call.
Okay, well, if that is all you want to do, then go ahead and roll for it.
I'm going to stay where I am. I feel pretty safe. I'm surrounded by paladins, and I've got Mia right beside me. I'm just going to cast Blink, and I will roll for Blink. And I stay where I am.
Okay. Next is Samuel and his bodyguards. And Samuel immediately, you've walked in, like almost in medias res of this battle, right? Like you're right in the middle of things. Samuel's barking out orders. There! The giant! Swarm it! As he points to what would be your left of this enormous, white, pristine, like clad in furred armor, frost giant wielding this enormous axe, like the size of one of the paladins. There's just so much for you to survey, right?
Yeah.
As the rounds go by, I'm sure we'll get more description of exactly what's in here, but you see giant spiders are crawling over where the web connects between those pillars and the openings of the second floor. Above you, more Umber Hulks seem to be like burrowing up out of the ground. The growls of Yetis, like these are creatures that, some of these creatures were assaulting the original front line when that was repelled. But Samuel and his bodyguards begin to move towards the bloated creature in the center. And any orcs that get close, his bodyguards are encircled around him, right, to protect him. They're letting out blasts from their own gauntlets. As you recall that they wear kind of replicas, like almost like knockoffs of the armor of Kalar. From their gauntlets emit green and red blasts of fire and necrotic energy. A few orcs kind of break the line and get towards Samuel, and all Samuel does is raises his own glowing blue open hand towards it and blasts two of these orcs, and they are just dust under the power of the armor.
Dang.
And he will take flight. As you see, he has, even with kind of the diminishing, the draining of the effect of it, he still has an incredible fly speed. And he makes it up like 80 feet up into the, from where he starts to where he lands, about 80, 90 feet, to setting foot on top of the bloated section of this being next to its neck and its head. Orcs around you, there's These orcs, unlike some of what you've already fought, like outside of Thufty's cave, how the orcs there were clearly like workers and they were malnourished. They weren't even clad for winter conditions. These orcs here are in well-maintained armor and weapons, and they are just trading blows with the paladins around them. Many of them, orcs, archers, and paladins alike, like arrows are flitting across this open chamber. The cries of paladins under the slamming fists of trolls throughout the chamber as well. The harpies that have entered from above you swoop down on the four of you. 21 and a 14 against Mia.
The 21 hits.
6 slashing. They're vulture-like talons on their feet, right? Wings and legs of a vulture with body, like naked abdomen of kind of deformed female features. Scrape and claw at your metal as you get your shield up. Falzaren, unable to blink, a 19 and a 12. Oh, sorry, a 19 and a 9.
The 19 hits.
You only take 3 slashing. Braun, too, fends off his own attacking harpies. They seem like they are leaving Thufty alone, however. From almost like immediately across from you, which may be a little bit difficult to see kind of around the bloated Neogi, but on the far side, over by what's marked on the map as entrance 14, one of the numerous entrances that the paladins are flooding into, half a dozen more kind of pop through the portal, and they look terrified as immediately charging behind them, these enormous dire bears claw their way through and just tear into a number of them. Paladin forces, however, not deterred by combat. Seems they are well trained. You just see them returning their own blows, just felling Neogi and taking down a troll. There's giants to fight that are hurling rocks into their forces, like the size of your head. General Ventrier herself is out there. You can see she is too giving commands and yelling at some of her arcane forces, returning magical fire of their own. Mia.
Well, Mia did not anticipate being able to call lightning in a cave, but I've called lightning in a smaller area before, so I think I'm going to start with a bang. I think I'm going to channel the divinity of Thor and call lightning centered on this, Oh no, why Samuel all the way up there? No! That's okay. The cloud can be there and I can pick a different spot to call the lightning to. The storm cloud is 10 feet tall with a 60-foot radius, so I want to center it on the big Neogi with the threads in the middle, and then I get to choose a point, and the creature 5 feet from that point make dexterity saves for the lightning damage. So I can choose to not throw it at Samuel right there. There's a lot of baddies surrounding this big Neogi in the middle, other than Samuel being up in his face, I think, right? So
keep in mind, though, that thing it's sitting on is 20 feet above the floor that you're on. So there's nothing, you'll only hit it with your lightning.
It's on like a rock pedestal sort of thing?
Correct, yeah.
Like carved?
You're trying to target the thing in the middle?
Yes, but I'm also wondering if, because it's the inorganic material such as stone, like if I could shatter it.
What if that shuts down the whole travel system and then we can't get to the body?
The purpose is to control this room. Whether that means shutting down the portals.
The purpose is to control the means of traveling within the cave.
So not destroy the central thing? Because Samuel's up there fighting it. I mean, I guess he's fighting the orcs.
No, he hasn't attacked it.
Samuel hasn't done anything to it yet. If you want to strike it, then absolutely go for it.
No, I should probably think about that.
I think do whatever Mia thinks. I mean, if Mia's going to do what Mia's going to do, I would say just you do.
But I don't think she's dumb enough to be like, yeah, let's, because I was already putting 2 and 2 together.
Okay, yeah. So Mia definitely knows that yes, the goal, this fight's goal is to, you're right, control this space, but also control the means of using these portals. I
think I'm gonna call lightning, but I'm gonna cast to the side of this pedestal just a little bit so that it's 10 feet off the ground. Like it would hit the bodies on the ground, not the big Neogi up in the air 20 feet. Basically, this storm is going to be the 60-foot radius, like centered around this. So his right, my left. And just trying to like call lightning into a spot where I feel like I can get like maximum people having to do dexterity saves. So I will call it at 4th level, which with this ring will it will add a die for 5th level because of my magic item. And then with my channel divinity, basically because it's lightning or thunder damage, if I channel it, which I plan to, you give me maximum damage instead. So upcast to 5th level, it'd be 5d10, max it out, so 50, and then the dex save for creatures is 17. And I'm going to pick, it's within 5 feet. Let's just start with here. If I go to the left of this Neogi, there's 4 creatures that do dex saves, or they take the 50 damage.
That's big.
Yeah.
Big damage.
Okay, yeah, and yes, so you're the form, like the cloud itself just kind of rapidly expands into existence, right? Just to the left of this central column with the blow to Neogi. And as your lightning strikes, every creature caught within it, due to your channeling, immediately fried, and they all just fall. And now you've cleared like the kind of western flank of getting to this section.
If I can just stay in this pack of people protecting me away from these harpies, just keep throwing lightning bolts.
Braun acts after you, and he kind of makes swipes at these harpies, connecting with one of them to show 7 bludgeoning of his own.
Like, it kind of looks like we're surrounded, but are they flapping like above us? Are they flying above us?
They're within melee range, but they're kind of still above, just above the ground. They haven't quite landed. Another influx of Neogi forces kind of comes in through that same portal that the harpies arrived from. You see, there's one of the paladins is kind of like looks up there, right? Sees the harpies swarming your group, and he just takes his weapon and hacks into the web fiber running to that portal, and he severs it quite easily by the looks of it. The portal itself, it's like stretching, right, and it suddenly solidifies to stone, like you witnessed in the Neogi cave at the Paladin camp, and the harpy is like midway through it, caught in the stone and like severed in half as it half of it falls dead into this chamber.
So the first portal, the one we just came through, is closed?
Portal number 8, which is the one...
Oh, number 8, the one next to us.
Yeah, so this portal is on the 2nd floor where the harpies have emerged from. Falzaren, you're up.
I think Falzaren would have seen this, right?
Yeah.
So Falzaren will yell out, "No, don't do that. That could lead to where we need to go. We need to keep these portals open." I think Falzaren is going to cast Flaming Sphere. So Falzaren conjures this ball of fire that floats in the air, and he's going to slam it into the closest harpy near him. So that harpy will need to make a dex save.
5.
8 fire damage. And then I'm going to position the sphere so that it's not adjacent to any of our friendlies, but if it's possible to put it like between 2 harpies so that they're going to have to move to avoid taking damage.
Okay, absolutely. You can actually kind of nestle up next to 3 of them if they don't move.
Perfect. The goal is to kind of present something that's going to cause them to need to get away from us or else take damage. And again, I'll stay where I am. I'm feeling pretty good about the little group we're in here.
Samuel and his bodyguards. The bodyguards continue to just kind of cut and carve their way to the raised structure in the middle. Samuel also notices the severing of this web fiber, and he just one powered gauntlet blasts into the paladin that cut it, completely disintegrating him. No one severs the fibers.
And that's our show. If you're not already, be sure to follow us at Incorrigible Par on Twitter, Incorrigible Party on Instagram and Facebook, and you can go to incorrigibleparty.com for world lore and PC information, and we've recently started adding some maps there as well. Incorrigible Party is generously sponsored and made possible by Critical Hit Design. For any of your design needs, visit criticalhitdesign.com. All ambient sound and music is provided by Tabletop Audio, and our intro and outro music was created by Josh Jarvis. You can reach him at jamesmercymusic@gmail.com. Happy adventuring!
This has been a Sounds of Steel production.